Hello, and welcome to Disciplines and Ideas in the Applied Social Sciences. I am Armin Rose, and I will be your guide as you go through the concepts of this course. This is Part 4, the Counseling Helping Process. The first part of the helping process is determine who we are going to help. These are the clientele and audiences of counseling. The characteristics of the clientele and audiences. The clientele and audiences of counseling are normal people. They are not in need of clinical or mental help. They may be the youth in need of guidance at critical moments of their growth. They may be anyone in need of assistance in realizing a change in behavior or attitude, or simply seeking to achieve a goal. They may be people who need to cope with crisis, premarital or marital counseling, grief and loss, domestic violence and other types of abuse, or coping with terminal illness, death, and dying. There are needs of various types of clientele and audiences. The needs vary for each type of clientele and audience of counseling. Some roles that the counselor performs are the following: school guidance counselor, job hunting coach, conflict management provider, human resource personnel, marriage counselor, drug abuse and rehabilitation counselor, bereavement counselor, and abused children caretaker. There are 3 levels of clients that a counselor can have: an individual, a group, or a community. First, let's talk about the individual as client. This is the most common type of counseling. The individual needs capacitation to be able to manage well their unique circumstances, which may be difficult to endure alone. Problems like drug abuse, alcoholism, loss of job, divorce, imprisonment, and rehabilitation can be a cause of shame and embarrassment. Even simply going through normal life transitions like retirement and growing old make people vulnerable and may come out worse. The group and organization as client. Groups exist in communities, organizations, students in schools, teachers in schools, and departments in workplaces. And such, an entity can undergo group counseling to undergo counseling needs on that level. The needs can range from desire to reduce conflict or manage it, become more productive as a team, or work better together. Some processes are the same as individuals, however, some are unique to a group context. The community as a client. When people experience something collectively which may be socially troubling and constitute danger of blocking their collective capacity to move on, counseling is necessary to be undertaken on a community level. Examples are in post-apartheid South Africa and post-genocide Rwanda. Local examples can be the victims of the Antipolo landslide or Typhoon Yolanda. The counselor uses several tools in helping the client. Here are some of the counseling tools. There are 3 schools of thought used in counseling: psychoanalysis by Sigmund Freud, behaviorism by B.F. Skinner, and humanism by Carl Rogers. Here are some of the basic counseling therapies that are used in the helping process: psychoanalytic therapy by Sigmund Freud, Adlerian therapy by Alfred Adler, existential therapy by Viktor Frankl, person-centered therapy by Carl Rogers, Gestalt therapy by Frederick S. Perls, transactional analysis by Eric Berne, behavior therapy by B.F. Skinner, rational emotive therapy by Albert Ellis, and reality therapy by William Glasser. Location is important in the helping process, and here are the counseling settings that the counselor uses. Government. Counseling professionals in government setting work with the various government agencies that have counseling services such as social welfare, correctional development, the court system, child and women affairs services, schools, military, police, hospitals, mental and foster homes, and rehabilitation centers. Other specialized departments also have units of counselors such as intelligence gathering departments, military and police departments, presidential guards, and special advisories. The private sector. In the private setting, counselors range from independent providers of services or work for NGOs or specialized for-profit centers and organizations that render a variety of counseling services. The civil society. The context of civil society is generally charities or nonprofit and issue-based centers or organizations such as for abused women, abandoned children and elderly, veterans, teachers, professionals, or religious groups. The school. In the school setting, the role of the counselor is more complex since the needs of children can vary widely. This gives rise to the more dynamic and complex role of school counselors. It depends on the school's local circumstance as well as the dynamism within the profession itself. As such, school counselors assume many different responsibilities and tasks based on the particular needs of students and the school context. Changes in the school counselor training. There is trust counseling, guidance, consultation, coordination, and referrals. Common concerns that may interfere with student learning include suicide, violence, divorce, child abuse, unwanted pregnancy, drug addiction, truancy, increasing dropout rates, decreasing economic resources, peer pressure, poverty, and decision-making skills. The multiple roles of school counselor include non-counseling roles like part-time teaching, secretarial responsibilities, substituting, lunch duty, and others. Strengthening school counseling. Comprehensive counseling programs that include classroom guidance lessons should be included in school counseling. The elementary school counselor provides intervention and prevention in connection to common problems that are likely to interfere with the ability of children to achieve their greatest academic, social, and personal potential. A junior high school counselor works as guidance and counseling in dealing with peer relationships and social interactions, consulting about meeting the developmental needs of students, orientational activities for new students. A senior high school counselor provides guidance and counseling pertaining to educational and career decisions and college placement counseling. The college-level counselor provides counseling, appraisal and assessment, information placement, research and evaluation, follow-up, and student activities. The community as a setting. The community has the greatest and widest application of counseling services, considering the diversity of people who constitute the community. People in conflict with the law, socially marginalized people, people who suffer loss of all kinds, people living in institutional homes, people experiencing different types of life transitions need counseling support and services. The community setting is a crossroad for individual and group context. The counseling process. These are the levels of the counseling process. First, we have the needs assessment, the intervention program design, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation. Needs assessment is the systematic observation of symptoms of the client to determine specific felt needs. This helps to align their competencies to the needs of the individuals, groups, organizations, and communities that they intend to serve. Assessment may range from a systematic observation of symptoms to conduct formal surveys using a questionnaire. The results of the needs assessment will become the basis to determine the range of services to make available to the clients as well as the choice of processes to be followed. Intervention or program design is the process of planning the counseling methods and tools to be used for the client based on what is needed. The plan must answer the questions who, what, where, when, why, how, and how much. An effective intervention or program design must follow the SMART rule: specific, measurable, attainable, results-oriented, and time-bound. Participation of the client is highly recommended during the planning stage. The implementation stage is the process that involves acting on the plan for an effective counseling. The step-by-step procedure created during the planning process must be observed. The counselor will be doing direct and indirect helping actions, and the client and his or her support systems are also responsible for the success of the implementation phase. The monitoring phase is done during the implementation phase. To ensure that the plan is documented accordingly, accurate documentation of all details is necessary to generate data of factual evidence about the implementation. Both the planned and unplanned occurrences are documented. The goal is to ensure that everything is done as designed based on the diagnostic procedure and resource alignment. Evaluation. At the end of the period of implementation or at a certain marked reasonable period, assessments are needed to determine initial results. Evaluation examines the results and finds out if the intended results are being met or not. It is the basis to continue or to phase out a program. The ideas presented in this video are based on the content standards of the Department of Education and the book Disciplines and Ideas in the Applied Social Sciences by E.M. Sampa, published by Rex Publishing. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next lesson.